Argentina has decided to call Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps by the name it considers correct, a terrorist organization. Meanwhile, Brazil continues to keep political and commercial channels open with Tehran. What happened now was not just any symbolic gesture. It was an official decision by Javier Milei's government, announced by the Argentine presidency. With a practical effect to block operations, impose sanctions, and tighten the financial pressure on the Iranian apparatus, the Argentine measure directly targets the core of the Revolutionary Guard. According to the official statement from Buenos Aires, the Guard was included in the Argentine Registry of Individuals and Entities linked to terrorism and terrorist financing. In practice, this paves the way for operational restrictions and financial sanctions. In other words, Argentina no longer wanted to treat this issue as an open diplomatic question, but as a concrete threat. The reason for this decision is also straightforward. Argentina maintains that the two largest terrorist attacks in its history were linked to the Iranian apparatus and to the actions of the Guard through Hezbollah. The first was the attack on the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires in 1992, which killed 29 people and left more than 200 injured. The second was the attack on EMEA in 1994, which killed 85 people and injured more than 300 in 2024. The highest criminal court in Argentina held Iran responsible for the attack on EMEA and said the action was carried out by Hezbollah within an Iranian political and strategic plan. This helps answer who is at the center of the crisis. On one side, the Milei government, which decided to take a tougher stance and turn memory into state action. On the other, the Iranian regime, which has denied involvement for decades. In the midst of this history, one name keeps coming up: Ahmad Vahid. Interpol itself reports that he was the subject of a red notice at the request of the Argentine justice system in the AMIA case. In January of this year, Argentina had already taken a previous step by classifying the Quds Force, the external branch of the Revolutionary Guard, as a terrorist organization. Now, it has gone further and targeted the entire structure. This is where Brazil comes into the picture awkwardly. While Buenos Aires takes a tougher stance, Brasilia maintains its relationship with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Itamaraty itself notes that diplomatic relations between Brazil and Iran remain active, with a history of increasing bilateral engagement. It even highlights the presence of Geraldo Alckmin at the inauguration of Massoud Pezeshkian in July 2024. And more than that, the official schedule of Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira shows a phone call with the Iranian Minister of Foreign Affairs. On March 26, 2026, that is, days before this new Argentine decision, when you look at these numbers, it becomes clear how Brazil chose to preserve ties with the Iranian regime, even under increasing international pressure. And here is the political point that brings shame. Argentina claims that the Revolutionary Guard was linked to the worst terrorist attacks ever suffered on its territory and turns this understanding into institutional action. Brazil, on the other hand, continues to treat Tehran as a partner with whom it is possible to maintain normal diplomatic and commercial relations. This carries even more weight because Reuters itself describes the Revolutionary Guard as a powerful force with great economic influence. In other words, maintaining normal relations with the Iranian regime is not a neutral gesture. It means coexisting with a system in which the Guard holds a central position. Brasilia has preferred a different approach. In 2025 and also in 2026, the Brazilian government condemned military attacks against Iran and insisted on defending dialogue and Iranian sovereignty. This choice helps explain how Brazil acts and why it does not follow Argentina's move. But politically, it leaves an uncomfortable question in the air. To what extent is it acceptable to maintain normal relations with a regime whose central machinery is seen by Buenos Aires, the United States, and other nations as a terrorist structure? In the end, what we see today is a harsh message coming from Buenos Aires and an awkward silence in Brasilia. Argentina has decided that it will no longer separate memories, security, and foreign policy, called the Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization, and made it official. Brazil continues in the opposite direction, maintaining contacts, trade, and dialogue with Tehran. One government closes the door to a structure it associates with terror, while the other still acts as if it's possible to do business and diplomacy without paying a moral price for it.